Do you guys know how to play solitaire?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be helpful, I think, when you're learning this game then. So we're going to play a different version called Four Corner Solitaire, or that's what my game calls it. And it's just something to kind of switch up the game of solitaire, kind of have something a little different. So basically how we're going to start is we're going to first, after you shuffle, you're going to set up your game board. So you're going to have 9 spots, but there are going to be 3 of them that are going to be left empty when you set it up initially. So where it says card, you have it face up, and where it says empty, you leave that spot empty. One space. Okay, all right. So the card that is in your one corner, this is going to be the start of your suits and where you want all of your cards to end up at. So instead of, in regular solitaire, you have aces up top, and you always start with the aces, and you go ace to king. This you start in the corners, and it starts with the card that ends up in the corner when you first deal out. So you have a queen, and you have an ace. The corners go from low to high, so your next one is going to be a king, your next one's going to be a 2. You'll end on kings, you'll end on jacks. Now, the 4 other cards that are not in the corners, these are your piles that you can lay cards on top of so you can play them. Now, this one goes the opposite way, though. So this one goes from high to low.
Just the single card.
Or all 4.
Oh.
All 4 go high to low. That way, you lay them out on your corners, they're in the correct order. Does that make sense? Okay. So now, only other rules is the 4 corners, they have to be the same suit. Like that kind of makes sense, I think. It's very similar to solitaire in that way. Same exact suit. The 4 corners out here, there's no rules other than it has to be the lower number of card. So this one has to be a 10 on here. This one has to be a 9. It doesn't have to be the same suit. But as a strategy, I say try to make it the same suit as much as possible. So now what you do with the other ones is you have the whole deck, you flip over one at a time. If you cannot play the card or don't want to play the card for strategy reasons, then you lay it in your discard pile. Once you get all the way through your deck, and then you have to start going off your discard pile, but you can't flip it over. You only get to go through once, and you have to repeat it back in that opposite order. Okay. Does that make sense? Yep. And then if you can't play, then you lose. So what I would recommend from you is put that 10 right there.
Oh, I can move these?
Yeah, you can move these around however you want.
So then I have to put this card back here or something?
Well, you have a free spot, so you can lay this card here if you want. What I always do is I always take the 5 next cards. So for you, it'd be like 2 through 6. For you, it'd be king, ace, 2, 3, 4. Make sure those first 5 are always played out here.
Okay.
The last 5, so your jack, 10, 9, 8, and 7, I always put those in my discard pile as a strategy reason, because those are going to be the very end.
Okay.
So for you, your king, queen, jack, 10, 9, you want to always put in there. The middle cards are kind of up to you, whether you feel like you can play them or not. I always try to, I don't know, it's kind of a strategy. It's okay. I personally probably would play that, yes. It's pretty close to your queen where you're going to want it. Your 8, I would put it in your discard. It's too close to the end of the cycle.
Wait, you're going down here, so 4 3s, so jack 10.
Correct. Yes. Jack is the very last card, so you always want to put jacks, no matter what. Put your jacks in there. Now 3, okay, so remember that you're putting a 3 there, because you can start taking off your discard pile early as well. So if you lay a card in here, and you all of a sudden see that you have an open spot, and you want to get that card out of your discard, so it's not at the very bottom of your discard pile, you can do that. You don't have to just keep continuing through the deck.
This doesn't need to go black, right, though?
It does not. But technically, you can't do that. You only can lay the top card. These are not stacked.
Move the whole pile.
Yeah. So you only can move the top, which is why it's important to make sure that you remember that you want to kind of
So
get
all
suits
of
as
these should be queens?
When you get to a queen, it's going to be there. See now aces, yeah, you want to remember that your aces are in there because those are really close to the next card. That's the third card that you're going to be laying down your corner. You might have just got dealt bad hand. So what I would kind of recommend is put your 9 out on one of these 10s and put the 8 out. That way you kind of keep your aces to the top.
Okay.
And that way you can get some lower cards out here too, so now you have some 8s showing instead of 10s. So I would always lay your jack here. Now for your ace, you're showing up another one, especially one you already have in the corner. I would consider moving your 8 to this 9, even though it's a different suit, and putting your ace out here. That way you have it like readily available for when your king shows up. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It was 2.
It's probably at the bottom. That's how it always works out. Play it. 4, 5, 6. That opens it up a little bit more.
Wait, we're going higher on these ones.
Right, so the next one's a king. And then once you unbury your ace, you can lay your ace here, and then it goes to your jack.
Oh, that 4 is in this one.
You can have 5 and your 6, and you can start taking ones off your pile if you want.
Oh wait, now it goes 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't think I saw you flip over the 2, so it might be still in your deck. Or ace, yeah. You can, but it's a 10, so that's at the end, you know, because your last few cards are going to be jack, 10, 9, 8, 7.
I'm stuck. Can't put this in anywhere.
Yeah, so you lose. You did pretty. You got pretty far though.
Things
So
off
you could
of this
do
pile?
this here. Yes, you can if you want. Yeah. So you can do. You can move that there. But that's not really helpful because you need to move the 10.
Yeah.
If you had a jack, you could do it because then you could move that jack. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll do it.
I would move. Sorry, I would move your king here because once you flip over that queen, then you'll eventually need it. Yep.
Wait, yeah.
So now if you can get to your aces, which are in the middle of this card, you might have a chance.
So I have to step this down or
No, now you have to go back this way.
like use this?
So 8, and then you have to play the 7, and then you have to play the 4, which,
No, you can't put it there, right?
but yeah, this one has to be a club.
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah, you have to follow suit on the corners.
Well, then I can't.
Then I think you lose, but you got so far. I think you got the idea though, that
All right, yeah, I want to try it again.
I think it's harder the first time if you start with something other than an ace.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have made sure you guys started with aces
I
that way.
gotta start with an ace.
So it's like, I feel like it requires thinking right and know what I'm doing.
It's just, yeah, like developing your strategy. So like,
Yeah.
mine's always like the 5 cards on either end, knowing what to do with those. And then the middle cards, you kind of have to like,
Then you have to remember
Just
which
judge.
ones you discarded and like when you discarded them.
Time.
wanted.